Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Andrew Mercer. I'm Fuego here.
Producer Dave.
Marcia Parker.
And welcome to the Ash vs. Evil Dead panel.
Thank you.
They clap for me.
Of course they did.
No, they
Girl power.
She got my joke.
Peggy Carter knows what's up. All right, guys, welcome to the Ash vs. Evil Dead, Appreciating Ash vs. Evil Dead panel, and we are your guides on this little jaunty journey. What are our credentials? Well, we basically run a horror variety show on YouTube called The Horror Show Channel. There's some flyers on the chair on your way out. You can grab it, and it's basically we do movie reviews, how-tos, comedy sketches, celebrity interviews. We just got to interview Danny Trejo. We've had Tom Savini, two of the boys from What We Do in the Shadows, Elvira, a bunch of good people on the channel. So we also actually just finished our second horror short, which we did a panel on yesterday called Sweet, which was a vampire western, and it actually just went up as our episode on the channel today, 9 minutes short, so if you guys want, check that out. But basically, the reason we asked Phoenix Comicon to do this is because we're all humongous Ash lovers. We've all seen the movies prior to, except for possibly one person, which we'll get into here. But we're so into the idea of an Ash vs. Evil Dead series that we actually sat down and did an episode-by-episode video review. So if you're interested, if you have watched the series and you want to see us ridiculous nuts talk about each episode, feel free to go and check it out. But there's some fun stuff. But so this time what we're going to do for you guys is we're going to just go through and talk about the season, what we thought, kind of what we expected to go in, a little bit of our personal history with Ash, and what we think might be happening going forward with season 2. So and then at the end, we're actually going to be I think we'll probably just ask one big trivia question, because if you guys see the Ash print down there at the base of the stage, that was given to us by Cole Peterson from ColePetersonArt.com, and he's got a booth downstairs, so we're gonna actually give that to whoever can answer the trivia question correctly. So without any further ado, let's get into it, guys. So I'll start with my personal history of Ash. The first one I saw was Evil Dead back when I was in high school. Must have been about 15. I'm not going to say exactly how long ago that was. Screw you. But anyway, I adored the heck out of it. After that, I went back and watched the first one, which I was like, after seeing the second one, I was like, huh? I didn't really understand why it was the same movie but worse. And then I went on and, of course, pretty much fell in love with Army of Darkness. Who wouldn't, with all the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a lot to do with that one, so thanks, guys. Appreciate it. But there is my history, so thank you very much, Andrew. Now, you have a...
I guess you could say I'm the interesting case, the outlier, the newbie. I heard about the Stars series before I had seen anything Evil Dead related. That's actually a lie. I saw the remake that they did not too long ago, and I thought it was cool, but I had no idea what I had done. I had to go back. So we watched, I think it was the pilot episode. I got some of the references and stuff, but not 100%. So went back, watched it. I think I still have yet to watch Evil Dead 2 or some of it.
He was a dozer.
It's a lot of late night watching, so
yeah, we were
I was
it
there.
The Ash.
I was there. So, but I love the series. From the pilot episode, I was hooked on it. These guys laugh. I go, "What was that for? Like, what was that? What was that?" So, but I am doing my homework. I'm trying to catch up. I want to do right and get into the second season all caught up, get all the references, and continue on with the new stuff. So that's my shameful history, if you want to save me here.
I'll step in there, sir. You know, there's a reason why I have an Army of Darkness poster framed in my living room. It's definitely my favorite of the series, although 2 comes close, and I watched them in reverse order. So I started with Army, went to 2, and then by the time I got to 1, I was almost as befuddled as Cecil over there. I was just like, such a different tone, not really much comedy, way more brutal. I mean, the tree scene was just something that will never be erased from my mind.
A deadite scream that lasts for 5 minutes for some reason.
Yeah, but Army is still my favorite, being the first that I saw, and the most comedic. I feel like it's the best melding of the Three Stooges-ness that they started into, and I mean, come on, boomstick, guys. It's just, you can't go wrong with that. So, Dave, what about you, man?
I obviously watched Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness in order, long ago on VHS before they had DVDs. But really, I'm here because I'm such a huge fan of Bruce Campbell. I am excited to talk about this.
Here he is, folks. Bruce Campbell.
And basically, it boils down to this: if you put a chainsaw in your hand and start killing deadites, I can't not worship you. So that's it.
Simple, pretty simple.
So I'm a little different, but like with Dave, I did watch him in order. But I watched him when I was 11 at an overnight girl sleepover, and in the middle of the woods in Tennessee. So it was very fun, interesting, and I don't think we slept that night because we were like, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, you never know. Everybody looks a little suspicious after watching those movies. But I love Ash vs. Evil Dead, as well as all of the Evil Dead movies, just because of the writing, the one-liners, the cinematography, the practical effects. I mean, you just can't go wrong. So that's why I'm sitting here.
So let's get into what we were hoping when we first found out about this series. Of course, when the news broke, being part of a horror show, we were all over it. I think, did we announce it in the news, Fuego? Was it one of our earliest news episodes? Yeah. We do a weekly news on the channel as well, actually on Kings of Horror. But anyway, we were so ecstatic about the announcement and the fact that Sam Raimi was going to be involved and his brother as well. And then, of course, bringing Ash back was just the coup de grace. So I, frankly, just hoped it wasn't going to be like a lame sort of attempt, kind of like the Evil Dead remake was. I mean, I enjoyed it as a huge gore fan. I mean, I couldn't have asked for much more in that department. However, the fact that all we got was groovy post-credits was just not enough Ash for me. So, yeah, it really was. It was just enough of a little PTs at the end. This isn't technically an adult panel, so I gotta censor myself a little bit. But anyway, so I just essentially hoped it wasn't going to stink.
I think we're all in that same boat.
Yeah.
All we hoped was that it wouldn't be terrible, and it wasn't.
No, definitely. It surpassed my expectations. How about you guys? Did you have any particular hopes or dreams?
I liked it. Going into it, I was just kind of looking general scope. Does it have the blood, the guts, and all that stuff? It's a pilot episode, so they're not
laughs
gonna go.
too.
And the laughs, of course. I gotta keep throwing that in there. But
just a brief survey, real quick. Raise your hand if you actually watched all 10 episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
Dedication piece.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Thank you.
For sure.
That's amazing.
I agree totally. So there's a couple hands that didn't go up, so we might be spoiling. Well, we will be spoiling some stuff, you guys, but
Definitely.
hopefully you'll take it as just more reason to go and actually watch the episodes. So
And also, in general, did everybody enjoy the first season?
Talented. Brutalicious indeed. Yeah, honestly, with the fact that they tried so hard to make a fourth film for quite a number of years and they just couldn't get it off the ground, I was wondering if we were going to get quality in this TV series, and it did end up almost feeling like just one big, huge super movie.
Yeah, it kind of felt, the first 2 episodes kind of felt like the fourth movie, a little bit.
well, yeah, when you break it down, they're about 25-minute episodes. There were
Well, that
10
first
of
one was
them.
an hour long.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one was about 45 minutes. So
that and the
when
first
you think about it, you're about 3 extra, full-length Ash features if you break it down that way. So that was pretty nice when you look at it. And in fact, they almost broke the season down that way. There was the first sort of 4-episode arc, which included, assembling the team. So we got to meet Pablo, we got to meet Kelly. Of course, in the very first episode, which we see Ash is not working for S-Mark. And why is he not working for S-Mark, guys? Because they don't have the rights. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, they have the rights to the Evil Dead movies. They still do not have the rights to to Army of Darkness. So,
Bummer.
yeah, so they can't have S-Mark. That's why he was working somewhere else. But they still worked in all the funny stuff, like in that pilot episode. Let's just jump into the pilot. The little doll part when the little doll attacks. That was, of course, reminiscent of the tiny Ash attack in Army of Darkness. So they definitely squeezed their way through some of the holes into Ash versus Army of Darkness. I'm going to keep mixing those up. But yeah, it was nice to see that and see Ash I mean, when we first see him come back, you know, he's working his magic on a waitress, as only Ash can. You know.
Smooth talker.
Always the
working
ladies'
his way
man.
out of a $42 bill or something.
That's right.
It's like,
Well,
I can
that's
give you
actually
something
halfway
that's worth
true.
twice that, maybe 3 times that. So I love the pilot. It set the right tone, and of course seeing the chainsaw and the blues return in the last moment was awesome. So what did you guys think of the pilot?
It blew my mind. I loved it. It was a perfect balance between the movies and bringing it back to life in modern times. And I felt they did a really great job making it kind of seamless, bringing back Bruce Campbell and bringing back that old feel, but bringing this like crazy quality to it that we didn't get from the original series.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you know, at the end of Army of Darkness, we're led to believe that he's come back to our world and he's working at S-Smart and
Well,
he's
that
just
depends
hanging
which
out.
ending, right?
Well, yeah,
Theatrical cut.
But I like to believe that literally from then to now, he's kind of just been roaming around. And I love, you know, again, they showed in the pilot that he is just ready to go. He's been waiting, even if it doesn't seem like he's waiting, he's been waiting the whole time just in case. And he has that shotgun ready to go and
Oh,
the
yeah.
chainsaw ready.
But
And
just
when that old woman
just
attacks
gorgeous.
him, it's
Think
great.
about it though, just in case of what? Just in case he gets a little
Well, he
too
knows.
stoned and tries to read poetry from the Necronomicon.
Because that's where you
That's
get the
why you
poetry
keep the
from.
chainsaw, just in case I'm a big dumbass later on.
That's the smooth talker.
30
man, I'm
years
talking
from now, I just forgot what might happen.
I don't think he thought that far ahead. I think you just kept it.
That's often tunnel vision
Must have
with
been
him,
some
man.
good
So.
green or something. I don't know.
He's got the team now. I personally like the team, how they came together, and there's kind of a theme with Ash is not many people really last around him, and that's kind of how they got baptized into the group. Was we get to see Kelly's mom come back, and
Mimi Rogers, great job by her there.
it was really, you know, it kind of pulled. It was the first time that the show really kind of threw you for a curve, because the whole time Ash is sitting there going, "You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong."
They're like, no, she's fine, guys, trust me.
And it took
Who
a
ever thought we'd get to see Bruce Campbell punch Mimi Rogers in the
yeah,
face?
right in the face, woke her right
awesome.
up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
that was
I mean, that was terrible.
it was a good intro, but
Yeah, no, I was honestly happy at how they didn't drop the ball once Sam wasn't directing, because you know he did the opening pilot episode, but then he didn't direct any of the others, and yet they still maintained that feel, the humor, and the blood, and all
And the
the
quality.
aforementioned stuff. Yeah, didn't dip at all. Thank the Lord.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, episode 2, we got to see Kelly's parents, and of course, the only gripe you could kind of have, I guess, with the story structure of the season was the sort of contrived aspects of it, where of course Kelly has to lose loved ones, and then Pablo has to lose loved ones in order to sort of bond to Ash and create the team. Now we can all sort of roll together and not have anything tethering us anywhere else. So, I mean, that might have been, I guess, the only sort of weak thing I might have seen in the season, which, if that's the only weak thing in the season, that's pretty damn good, in my opinion. But what do you guys think of, because actually before we got to Pablo's Brujo, we got to the library, or the bookstore.
the Books from Beyond,
Yes.
Books from
My
Beyond
favorite.
story.
And of course, we came up with an idea. How do we put the evil back into the Necronomicon? Let's summon a really low-level
Yeah.
demon.
Low level.
Typical Bruce, typical Ash logic.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually.
Which honestly looked kind of like a Cenobite, I thought too.
Yeah, it was a
Some
blue
great art.
Cenobite, a vibrating blue Cenobite. But nonetheless, I thought he looked really, really cool.
Well, and I'm glad they did that so early in the series, so that as fans we knew that they were going to go there with interesting stuff and cool practical effects.
Interesting tidbit, if you guys didn't know, if you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, the guy that plays Peter, the Nosferatu, actually played Elagos the Demon as well. So,
Everything was good when they summoned the demon. They just had to keep him in a circle, right?
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
all.
that's
That's
all
easy
you ever
enough,
have to
right?
do if anyone's ever watched Supernatural, naturally.
Except
Which I actually, just to jump on that point, I actually feel like with the music, they kind of took a cue from Supernatural, killer classic rock
rock,
throughout, and I mean, whether it was, Ted Nugent's first band, that was kind of like the, almost theme song of the show. Come along if you can.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, lots of good musical beats, and it helped with the badassness of the Ash, I would say.
But what was neat, though, as I was mentioning about the sort of arcs of the show, there was sort of like a 3-episode arc for Elagos Demon, and it carried on into the next episode where we got to meet the Brujo. Pablo's deal, right?
I did want to say one thing. One of my favorite deaths in this whole season happened when the summoner got offed with the glass, and then it gets back up. It's kind of
Shards.
glass
that's right.
shards.
In the bookstore, you mean?
Yeah, that was rough. I like that one.
Yes, there's lots of classic kills. I mean, enough chainsaw welding action for
Yeah,
kids.
well,
That's
if
your
you
weapon
watched
of
our
choice.
reviews, I can only give the episode a 10 out of 10 if there's a chainsaw death. So if there's no chainsaw death, it automatically can only get a 9 out of 10, even if it's really good. So yeah, I mean, every time, I'm like I said before, you put a chainsaw in a guy's hand, you got my attention.
So what did you guys think of the Brujo character and the trip he sends Ash on?
Oh, the
with
psychedelic.
Yeah, the
Lizard's
psychedelic
like
trip with
talking
his
to
lizard,
him.
yeah.
Talking to the lizard. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, they go there to again undo what they've done, and didn't they just do that? They went to go undo what they did before. So
Well, and they're looking for the key to undo it, and the key we find out is inside Ash.
Yeah.
Yep.
lies
Surprise,
within
surprise.
him.
I think he's just as surprised as we were.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course at the end of the episode we find out that the demon was not quite exercised like they thought it was. It in fact just jumped into who Fuego?
Kelly.
Yeah, I knew you had to say it that way.
Yes, Kelly.
I believe that was a cool cliffhanger. The way they did it, they did it really subtle. They just showed her eyes go black for a second. And that was the only clue they gave at the end of
They did
that
the first
episode.
time. No, I
Yeah.
think at the very end though, they did a mirror pan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where it was her looking into a mirror and then go and then you see vibrating demon in the mirror.
Yeah, and she got to stretch her sexiness a little bit in that episode.
That
Where
was the
she's
next
trying
episode.
to,
The next
the
episode,
one
yeah,
thereafter
yeah.
where she's possessed and
Which-
she's trying to
If we're
entice
gonna-
Mr. Pablo.
If we're going to get into that, still one of the best uses of a
A
shotgun that's
It was
ever
pretty
been
hot,
filmed,
what can
in
you
my
say?
opinion.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Fantastic.
quite like seeing a girl do that with a shotgun. Like what? That was so weird to see at first,
It's
and
so
then as you watch
dangerous.
it, you're just like, wow, that's kind of cool.
It's so
And that was
dangerous
when
and
I
illegal.
actually started to buy into her acting chops. That,
Yeah.
that chick who was
Yeah.
playing
Yeah,
Kelly. I mean,
yeah.
she
She
was
was a
legit.
little flat for a little while.
But she kind of found her groove, you know, especially after her parents were dead. And,
Yeah.
you know, after the whole possession thing. I mean, that scene with the meat cutter where she's
Oh,
just like
yeah,
going
well,
at the
yeah,
face
yeah.
of the guy.
That's
laying around.
later on. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But actually, speaking of somewhat flat acting, I think we should mention two other people that were big in the season, which we haven't even gotten to,
Oh,
even though we're
basic
5
and even though-
episodes in.
even
We're
though
halfway
she's
through
right.
the season, we haven't even mentioned them, which I don't know if that says anything to you guys, like it sort of said to us going into the season. We did not care much for Lucy Lawless's character or the cop.
Ruby or Amanda? You don't remember their names?
Boy, someone hit the wiki right before here. I tell you
That's
what.
right.
Yeah, no, Ruby was just sort of enigmatic, but a little too much so. Like we saw her literally deliver one line in the pilot, and then just here and there going forward as she met up with Amanda, we couldn't warm up
And
to.
I was going to say it, they kind of made it feel like she was going to be a more important character than she ended up being. So I don't know if they changed their minds somehow or what, but it didn't seem like she had a complete story to me.
Well, they I guess by the end they were trying to make her the loved one that Ash loses, of course, but
That was quick.
we didn't.
It happened
Yeah, by the time that she actually met Ash was, I think, in episode 4 or 5. No, I think it might have actually been episode 6. Or
You
something
saw a
like that.
composite
I can't
sketch.
remember
That was
exactly,
it.
but either way, there wasn't enough time and
active
interaction
bookstore.
between them
It was
to
at the
really make
bookstore.
us
At the
It
care.
was at the
Yeah,
bookstore.
they,
Was that the
they
bookstore?
locked
Yeah,
her
it
up
was
at the
the
bookstore.
So it was
second-
3 then, but
yeah,
still.
She's been trying to arrest him until she joins the team. For
Right, but nonetheless, it wasn't 6 half-hour episodes isn't enough time to invest in that relationship when they're not even on screen that much together during the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my gripes is the whole 25-minute thing. I felt like this should have been a 45-minute, you know, like a full hour block of a show. They went by so quickly, and you were just like, damn, you know.
Well,
but I guess it aids for binge watching.
Ultimately, didn't they kind of help with the pacing though? Like sometimes hour-long shows can feel like a little bit of a slog because they're not hitting every point they need to, or they're taking their time because they know they have the time to take. But Ash, they kind of need to get there, and it needs to get there quickly.
Well, I also think
So-
the fact that it's comedic tone as well.
Right.
I just wanted
lends
more.
itself. Yeah, I know.
Just
We want
being a
more.
selfish
More.
fanboy, man.
We,
you know,
we
so-
waited 15 or whatever, however
Yeah.
many years for the series, and now we only get 22 minutes
Yeah.
a week, and it's kind of, yeah.
So after we do the Kelly possession storyline and we leave the Brujo, then we get to the militia. Or Dennis?
Well, before we leave, they have a ceremony for the Brujo, and that's when we get the medallion.
The medallion enters the picture, right? And Dave actually had a theory about the medallion because they're burning Brujo's body, and the medallion sort of falls out of it, and then the medallion sort of becomes a force against the Necronomicon. And at one point, if you guys remember, the medallion is going into the mouth of the Necronomicon. So Dave posited a theory that the Brujo's soul might have gone into the medallion, and that's why the book was trying to eat it, because the book eats souls, right? So,
but
and not only that,
it provides protection.
But it provided information, because when they threw the book off, it opened to a particular page, and they didn't utilize it as like a page that helped in that particular moment, but they could say, okay, well, that's Brujo trying to help. Hey, this spell will help you, going forward in future episodes. They can maybe take that tack. So I thought that was an interesting.
Well, if you remember a little bit from the continuity of the Necronomicon, it often will open up to the page it wants you to read.
Right.
So if the medallion somehow overrides that power, that might come in useful to them later on. And we know that Pablo, well, I don't. Okay, my prediction is that he kind of ends up being Brujo next season. But in a way.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that I think, with the medallion being his guide to the Necronomicon, hopefully he'll hopefully he'll do something cool. Like be able to close a door or open a door with a little bit more control than Ash did.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Before I actually dive into the militia episode, because something happens in it that refers to the previous episode, when Kelly is smoking out of the shotgun, she sort of comes on to Pablo, which Pablo kind of had a crush on her almost the entire season. So he kind of turns her away, and then that's what I liked about the show. And again, with the half-hour show and the pacing, they addressed it the very next episode. So when they're out walking around the woods, checking out the militia area, Pablo pretty much was like, he confronts her about it a little bit, and she's like, and you turned me down? So it was just interesting that we got to see them have that discussion rather than waiting until the finale. Or
Really the only cute thing on the show is Pablo's little obsession with Kelly, which is fun. I think most people would agree that it's cute. It's fun.
Yeah. So did you guys like how that relationship developed?
I thought that was more believable than Ash's relationship with
Amanda.
that cop lady.
I hate that.
What did you guys think? Did you think that was more believable than Ash and Amanda? Or okay, all right, cool. We're gonna we'll open it up to some questions from you guys towards the end here, because I want to get your opinions, opinions, questions and stuff. But so the militia. There was one funny moment I wanted to mention in the militia also episode was when Pablo and Kelly was in the truck and Pablo was in the back of the truck, and they back a deadite in a gas mask into a tree, and he tries to take the gas mask off, and Kelly ends up having to use the machine gun and shoots wildly, and Pablo's barely missing all the bullets and stuff. It was so Keystone Cops, that moment, but it was still very in line with the Army of Darkness kind of feel and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, were there
oftentimes that you're laughing during a kill on this show, which is fine. And I love the gore. It's all practical. Almost every single time it's practical.
Well,
unless you see like a head come off or something like that.
Blow half a head off, and that's obviously CG. But what I was wondering, bringing that up, is there any moments that are just too over the top in the season for you guys? You're just like, even for Ash, it was just too much.
I think maybe when the kid went into the fan, although,
That
I still think that was like
I
one
love
of the best
that.
scenes of death in there was when that cafe got overrun after Ash was trying to sweet talk the waitress and everything. And
Well, and that was another thing that Dave mentioned that I thought was very true. How cool was it to see the demon cam or the deadite cam going through like urban areas instead of just the woods, like coming up to the diner and
Spirit vision or whatever.
Suddenly I'm like, oh damn, deadites can like come to my house if they really want to. Like,
because we've only really ever seen them. We've never really seen them in a city other than the very end of Army of Darkness.
Right.
But we've never really seen them in a city before, or gone under a car or through a parking lot or whatever.
Right.
And to me, that was really neat because that was one of the things I loved about Army of Darkness and Evil Dead.
Well, and they stepped up all those gags
Monster
too, since it's
vision,
not just going over logs and
Yeah.
in between trees and stuff, and you had to go under cars. Like
Yeah,
you said.
and it's not obviously put in reverse, you know, like I don't know if you guys remember that shot in Evil Dead 2 where the smoke goes back into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
it's
and
just totally
we actually
reversed.
caught a glimpse of what that was
Yeah.
finally this season when they're trying to drive and get away from it, carrying the trailer, of course. But they're looking in the rearview mirror and you see it's like a massive dust cloud that's chasing them. And so I was like, dust cloud, really? And then another car passes them and just gets thrown like way off the road by the dust cloud. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay, dust cloud. Right, got it. Don't want the dust cloud near me.
Evil
The
Fog.
only thing that stops them is the Brujos force field.
Yeah,
his
yep,
guys.
around his place, exactly. Which was a neat effect too, you know,
Yeah.
seeing the smoke disperse like it was a dome kind of thing. But any other things in the militia episode? Because basically the last 3 episodes are the 3 episode
The return.
cabin
Well,
arc.
I will
Yeah.
say this, just to briefly mention Lucy Lawless. I enjoyed her as an actress, and I actually did enjoy her on the show. I thought she was an interesting character because she was so mysterious. We don't know much about her. And then we found out that she's the long lost daughter from the family of evil, you know, the Evil Dead cabin.
Yep, the
So to
doctor
me,
that found the book.
that actually kind of cemented that I want her to be on the show. And so I'm really excited. I mean, I know they kind of teased us all season that these guys are going to meet up and there was going to be an epic clash between, you know, Xena Warrior Princess and Bruce Campbell. But you know,
And they'd shared the screen before.
Yeah, you
on,
know,
like
so-
Hercules and
yeah.
Xena and all
So
that
you know,
shit,
I mean,
so.
I personally, I'm excited for next season. Hopefully, I liked that she disappeared in I think it was episode 7. She, you know,
she died
burst
fighting
into
a
flames.
Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah,
And she, you know, she comes back like some sort of dragon rider or something.
she was the Khaleesi.
Yeah, and then you know, I loved that moment when she had the hand in the car and the hand pointed. I don't know if you guys remember that. Her hand's like on the dashboard.
That's
and
how she was
pointing
tracking where to go.
And I, as soon as I saw that hand, I was like, yes!
Yes,
Yeah.
Because
then you
obviously,
knew what they were going to do.
Yeah.
from
right?
Evil Dead, that is my favorite scene
Yeah.
when he cuts his hand off and all the chaos that ensues from it. To me, it's one of the most funny, scary, and just awesome scenes of all time. So the fact that leading into episode 8 or 7 or 8
Yeah,
now,
the end of 7.
we're back
we
at the
actually got
cabin
to
with the
see-
hand.
Yeah, we saw the hands crawling over the hill, and
see
we
the
saw the
cabin,
cabin in the
yes.
background, and we all turned into giddy.
They were
little
really
schoolgirls.
successful with every episode, making you want to watch the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if hardly anything happened during the episode, they somehow made it all mean something for the next episode. And
Right.
so we even got to the 8th episode. We're like, oh no, there's only 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? This sucks.
Yep, exactly. But of course, then we proceeded on to the 8th episode, which we haven't asked yet, but I'm gonna just say 8 was definitely my favorite episode of the
Oh,
season.
yeah.
Because there were so many things besides Bruce getting back to the cabin, and besides everyone else kind of eventually showing up. I loved the fact that, you know, at one point, Amanda was going to go out to the shed to get something. And Bruce is like,
And
okay,
he's
wait,
like, no.
before you go, you should know there's going to be a head device in there.
It's still there.
And she, you know, he's like, well, my girlfriend, she tried to kill me. I put a chainsaw through the top of it, you know,
These things happen.
as you do.
These things happen.
Yeah.
And so and then of course we got to see it, and she starts talking to him, and it was like coming home. I mean,
Yeah.
it's terrible to say that the cabin from Evil Dead 2 is home. It just felt that way, and it was tremendous.
It felt like he was kind of on home turf.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yep.
he had gotten back to where he knew how to defeat this enemy. Or I should say get sucked into Army of Darkness land. That's
Yeah.
where, you know, that's part of it too.
Boy, I hope they can work out those rights.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, one of the things that I really liked about it, and if you guys remember, there was a point in the beginning of the 8th episode where it's like, I'm like, what are they doing here? Because Ash finds a dead bird, right? And he picks it up, and he's just like, oh, you know, and I'm like, really? Soft-hearted Ash? And then it turns into a deadeye. He's like, ah! And he throws it and smashes into a tree. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Ash versus Evil Dead. That's right. It's not going to get all touchy-feely on me.
Yeah.
So,
And they really never let up on the comedy. Like, yeah, maybe something's not laugh out loud, but there were a lot of kills and things like that where you just kind of chuckle to yourself because you're like, okay, this is the campiness of Bruce Campbell that I love, and this is the you know, a little bit of everything.
And going back to your hand real quick, and not only that, but the hand moment from Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
At one point, they did a cool camera shot, which the camera work in the series was awesome. But specifically, there were some great ones like this one where, you know, they pull back from Ash and Amanda and they pull through, you know, the holes in the wall, and you see the hand walking by. But not only that, the hand has grown a forearm.
And it's got an
And
eyeball
so
in it.
I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna get Evil Ash." So that definitely got me excited. What about you guys?
Yeah, Evil Ash is, you know, it's almost more slapstick comedy-esque, you know, it's,
Well, they were very slick about how they did incorporate the Army of Darkness stuff. Like in the very first episode, we had the little mini Ashes, and then we had Evil Ash, who was definitely a big part of Army of Darkness.
yeah.
So, you know, it was great.
Yeah.
And, you know, we love Bruce Campbell playing both roles, right? I mean, yeah. So.
Not that regular Ash isn't like slightly bad or
Yeah.
evil when it comes to how he treats
bad
people,
enough.
but
I still thought this incarnation of the evil Ash, though, was a lot more sinister than in Army of Darkness.
Yes.
he had some really funny one-liners
Yes.
that were just like downright, oh Jesus, man, that's whew.
But I mean, the fate of the cop, though, at his hands, it was actually
Yeah.
really ironic how she died the same way her partner did, getting thrown on those antlers, you know.
Yeah, and was
Probably
anyone
a
else?
different place,
We
but-
mentioned in the review at this point that even though Ash was trapped in the shed with the head, when Ash walked in to sort of talk to the cop and lay the smacker on her and then kill her, it still somewhat surprised me. I had forgotten that he was trapped in the shed, so I think they were just really clever in their storytelling and how they did it, because it surprised me, but then again, maybe I'm just a little slow on something.
And there was also a very familiar claw in that shed, too, if you remember. The whole back and
Oh, that's
forth
right.
between Nightmare and...
Yeah, that's right. They, if you guys look closely, there's a shot in the shed. I think it's beside the door. Freddy's claw, but without the blades, is hanging beside the door. It's a little Easter egg in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a back and forth since, I mean, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, where, you know, Nancy's watching Evil Dead.
And then, of course, the episode ends with Ash confronting Ash. Ash walks in and sees...
Ash versus Ash.
Yeah, exactly. Sees a dead cop, and they start fighting, and then that's how that episode ends. And then the first part of episode 9, they're still fighting, and then Pablo and Kelly run in, and they see them, and they just shoot machine guns into the air to stop them, and it basically becomes a Bugs Bunny episode where he's it, no, it's him, and they got to decide who to shoot. And you know, what'd you guys think of that scene?
You're diverting to you, Masha Parker.
No, I loved it. I loved the back and forth. I love how they had to sit there and, you know, like you said, it was the Bugs Bunny, like, oh, Ash wouldn't say this, or he would do that, and they had to decipher. I think they just really went, I'm just going to shoot somebody, and hopefully it's the right one.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
It was still 50-50.
Yeah. How are you really going to know? I mean, evil's pretty clever, right?
And then we also had those hitchhikers who turned into straight up cannon fodder, just like we
They're the most-
did.
yeah.
Although in one of your favorite kills of the season, if I remember, right?
Chainsaw. Right?
No, the puppets, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, do you guys want to do that real quick? Do you have favorite kills? I'll take.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the end of the first season.
It's
Yeah,
hard
pretty
for me
much.
to pick.
I'm gonna take the meat slicer tenderizer. Because when Kelly slams the dude's face and slices it off and then just finishes it with a ball peen hammer, that was pretty crazy.
And the boys are just looking in on her like, holy crap, she's going nuts. I'll have no fury, my friend.
The back to the cabin, one of the hikers, I believe, is basically just swallowed and spit back out the door, and it's just
Oh,
blood.
that's
the
right.
girl.
Yeah.
Non-stop blood.
Yeah,
And,
and that was
There was no lapse to that kill. There's a couple that are in fact
I'm
just straight
pretty sure
out
she
brutal.
was just dragged
Not
into the
funny.
door and then spit out and blood.
the aftermath was cool. I mean, it's like just a portion of her torso and like a leg here and a hand. there.
Little pieces.
Yeah, it was, I just, there's so many people, like the Sam Raimi standard of gore is what a lot of people need to reach, in my opinion, and so they just delivered so well in this stuff. Wait, what about you, Gil?
I feel like this cranked it to 11. The kills were just off the chising, and maybe the bottleneck in the second episode.
I was thinking about the bottom.
Oh, he
of
just
the show.
keeps
Buckets of blood. He's
Yeah.
getting all over Pablo.
Already- and then
He was
he
just
shakes
shaking
the
him.
I
heads
should have done
up.
that.
I like, and then well, he didn't technically kill him there.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like,
Out the
thanks for the
window.
heads up.
Yeah.
That was
Finish him
great.
off.
Mine are the chainsaw ones. All of them.
Yeah.
All chainsaw
Maybe
kills.
like the slow cut to Mimi Rogers
All
where
of
they're
them.
decapitating.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that was a good one.
Oh,
I
right in
just
front of
the first time I
Kelly.
think it was in the first episode when he put it on his hand and like snapped it into place. I was like, okay, I'm down.
Wasn't
10
it the
episodes.
old lady was jumping off the wall or something? And
Yeah.
it was just, there goes her
Yeah,
head.
even from the get go, like I said, and you know, who doesn't love the fact that he can, you know, kind of pull start it on his arm, and he's got the whole, you know, harness, and
Corset.
we love the girdle, right? You know, he like has
Yeah.
Would you do me? I
great.
do me.
Marcia, did you have one?
I like rewatched all the episodes again. I'm like, I gotta pick a favorite, but every episode I'm like, but this is just so badass. I can't pick a favorite. I'm gonna be
No
one of
favorite
those
kills?
no
I
favorite
can
kills.
give
I
you a
just love
favorite.
all of them so much.
What about the death of the demon? Did you like it at least?
I did. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Head
can't
splatter.
pick favorites.
Yeah.
Head
Don't
splatter.
ask me what my favorite of anything is.
Well, green goopy splatter though. It wasn't
Yeah.
like
Blue.
the type of
Blue,
red
yeah.
color.
I'm gonna pick one. I'll pick when the baby doll dies. Splat.
Oh, yeah, popping
Yeah.
its little eye out. Yep, that was a
It's
good
an
one.
easy way out.
Or also, how about when Ash is killing the little mutant kids that Pablo was crapping at the end? He's like,
God,
somebody
that's
needs to
right.
wash your mouth out. Bam!
Yeah,
Just the
that's
head
right.
stuck on the rifle.
Oh,
Yeah, it was kind of fun to see Pablo become
The
a
Necronomicon.
stronger character. Yeah, you know, because he starts off as kind of like a suck up
Kind of a little
to Ash.
pushover.
Yeah.
And by the end, he feels like a character who's actually grown a little bit. Same with Kelly, and you know, Ash doesn't really change ever. So
No.
you know, we don't expect him to change, other than you know.
Well, you know, actually, that might be a good place to jump into the actual way the series or the season ended, because
We could see
I
Ruby
was
again.
not a fan of the fact that Ash kind of turned tail and said, "All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to Jacksonville."
I'm going
Like,
to Jacksonville.
I don't know. What did you guys?
Well,
it just seemed out of character, even for Ash. Like, Ash doesn't want to fight. Like, he ran for a while, but when
Yeah.
he has to fight, he fights to the end. Usually.
Well, he was kind of duped because all he wanted to do was bury it, and then Ruby basically tricked him and said, "You can't bury it. You have to dismantle it." And she cuts the face off, and
Oh,
then the
that's right.
face sticks to Pablo.
Right.
And I'm assuming he just wanted out of that situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Live-
Yeah,
live
because
to
it
fight
was
another
going to
day.
be Pablo and Kelly or him, pretty
Yeah.
much. That's true.
So
That is true.
make a deal
Fine,
with
quit
Ruby.
making sense.
Hey,
Now there were a lot of funny lines in the show. You guys, did you guys pick any? Write any down? I had one that was in the first episode that was very un-PC, but it made me laugh really hard. That Ash's boss said, he's like, he just walks in, he's like, "Ash, you retard," and I can say that because my gardener is a huge one. Jesus.
It was really good writing throughout
Yeah.
the whole series, and it was clever, and a lot of the jokes weren't weren't just visual jokes. They were written jokes like that, and they were funny because, I mean, we love Bruce Campbell, so you know, pretty much anything he does is going to make it funny.
Yeah.
Whether it's funny or not, he makes it funny.
perfect example, the where he's gagged and can't talk,
Yeah.
but he's still having a full conversation with
Yeah.
everybody in the room. So.
You're lying through your teeth. Yeah, and there was a couple lines I wrote down from Ash when, of course, when he's spanking the waitress with his wooden hand, saying, "You like my wood?" It's very Ash. And then he came up with a new mantra that I think is going to help him, which was "Shoot first, think never."
Never.
There's another one.
And
about-
That was some great internalizing where he was like debating in his head how to proceed.
Don't
Yeah.
think at all. Yeah, shoot first, think never.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, buddy.
That's a ticket.
So let's move into, before we jump it out to the crowd, because what we're doing with these chainsaws, you guys, is we'll ask you guys some trivia questions. If you can answer them, we'll give them out. And if we run out of trivia questions, you can try and stump us and win them that way. So
Yeah.
we'll get to that. But
That should be
first,
fun.
let's do the predictions about season 2. We do know that we're getting a couple of new additions, i.e. Lee Majors.
Lee Majors.
playing
Brock Williams.
Mr.
father.
Williams.
Yes.
So
Brock
everybody
Williams.
go down and see him
Andrew,
and
you
ask
want to
him
go
what
ahead
he's
and just
doing.
tell us
All over
everyone?
it.
Because you got
Well, we also have Ted Ramey as Chet Kaminsky.
Yeah, Sam's brother.
Good friend.
Yeah. And also his high school love interest too, right?
Yeah, who's doing that? Do you remember?
I can look it up.
Oh, wiki fail.
I'm sorry.
Wiki fail.
That wasn't on my to-do list.
So Ash is, obviously we're going to start off, Ash is in Jacksonville. Because
I don't think he's going to make it to Jacksonville. That's
No, they already showed, they showed
There's
press
a photo
photos,
floating around.
promo photos.
He's like slicing open with the chainsaw.
He's slicing open a keg, yeah, exactly.
What if he's just fantasizing that he's made it to Jacksonville?
I guess that's possible.
What a tweeze.
Sorry.
That's possible.
No roads uncrossed.
So Lucy Lawless is still out there and in power, right?
Yeah.
So she's
Sinkholes.
still playing.
They mentioned-
And she's still super mysterious.
Yeah.
They still haven't answered like any of my questions about who she is. Like, well, we know who she is, but like, what is she really going to do?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing we really get is the sinkholes happening all over the world at the very end. It's just a
And also, do you
vague
remember
news
in
thing.
Army of Darkness, the girl that he liked ends up being the evil queen that he goes up against?
Yeah, give me some sugar, baby.
I feel like that's maybe who her character might end up being, in a way. Is that same sort of female nemesis that he had in Army of Darkness. And again, since they can't use Army of Darkness, they're kind of, just doing the subtle little hints,
Yeah.
subtle little clues towards
As close as
what's
they
going
can
to
come.
be. Yeah.
Any other predictions, Marcia? Are you hoping for anything in particular?
Just more blood.
Yeah.
More?
More blood.
That's a pretty good prediction.
More
Blood
deaths.
and you'll be
There's
happy.
going to
They
be
should
some
More
just
deaths,
be
more
walking around in
chainsaws.
blood all the
Yeah,
time.
maybe he'll get like another chainsaw.
Dual
upgraded.
Chainsaws?
An upgraded chainsaw?
Upgraded
did he have a
chainsaw.
I
hammer?
don't know. They're gonna that would get into
Laser
Sharknado
chainsaw?
territory.
Well, he got the,
if they upgrade chainsaws every.
He did get the mechanical hand.
Yeah, he had the
That was
mechanical
good.
hand.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
love
We got
the
a new one.
mechanical
The
hand.
power glove.
Yeah.
Again, another Army of Darkness kind of. We're gonna steal a little
Yeah,
bit from
that's
Army of
right,
Darkness
that's
without stealing from Army of Darkness.
We're stealing from ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about how the father-son
father-dad?
dynamic is going to entail. Like, how much like Ash is Lee Major's going to be?
I think Lee
Who the hell
Majors is gonna be
knows,
is a hard ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I think.
Because
And,
Ash was
and they're not
definitely
gonna have a
big
good
disappointment.
relationship. Yes.
Yeah, he's like, you're such
Bruce.
a disappointment, son.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think I think it'll be funny. I think it'll be gory, and I think I'm gonna watch it.
September
Yeah.
I know
23rd.
that.
And we'll be reviewing it.
Yeah, we're planning to do reviews again like we did for this one. We're actually currently, we haven't recorded the first one yet, but we're planning to do reviews for all of Preacher right now as well. If you guys are interested in that, we're doing a review per episode on that.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right.
Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a panel on Preacher next
Hey,
year.
oh.
Let's hope it
Any
gets better.
final thoughts on Ash vs. Evil Dead before we start talking to the audience, guys?
Well, I think I could say this for everybody. I was so hoping it wouldn't suck, and it didn't, and I was so happy. And I'm so excited that we have a different style of horror show to watch that you can't find anywhere else. You know, there's really nothing like it.
Yeah, and I'm also glad they took the Stars route as opposed to going on a lesser network, because they could drop the
Like
F-bombs and they
AMC or
could,
whatever.
yeah,
And do the real gore.
Yep.
truly
We can
Absolutely.
actually see people's heads disintegrate.
R-rated proper.
Okay, so what I wanted to do. First let me say, guys, we got we have 2 shirts, 2 of these Ash vs. Evil Dead shirts. The lovely tote bag hanging from the podium there. Plus, I think about 10 or maybe 11 chainsaws.
one goes to
And
11.
we got all of it from Stars themselves. We emailed Stars, and they were kind enough
Support
to provide
Stars,
it.
they
So,
support
yeah,
you.
Please give it up for Stars. Really Y'all can run around the floor, and 11 of you will be the envy of everyone on the
Yes.
floor with these things.
Yeah.
Because they do not exist other than here.
So let's get to it then. I've got 3 really easy ones to start
Easy
off
ones.
with
Let's
here.
do it. In fact, I believe you've mentioned all
Yeah, I've
these
mentioned
answers.
all of the answers.
If you've been listening, we'll be good.
So if you guys have been paying attention,
What do
we'll
we
go
get?
really easy first.
What are we gonna
Where
give out
is-
first?
What's that?
Which one are we doing?
Are we doing
We'll do chainsaws first. Susie, do you want to be the Van and White for us, please? Ladies and gentlemen, Susie Von Slaughter.
Yeah,
She's also part of our horror show. She just doesn't watch Ash. All right,
So
valid
we
reason.
can do like raise your hand.
Yeah, we'll do raise your hand, guys.
So
for the
we'll all
answers.
watch for see who raised their hand first.
And don't take
This'll be
offense.
fun.
I call on whoever has to. Where is Ash's ideal getaway? Yeah, he was first. Okay.
was easy.
Let's have one pointer. Dave, are you the pointer?
Yeah, I'll be the pointer.
All right.
Zip points, I said.
All right.
Better be quick.
What did Pablo call his uncle?
It's that in the blue right there.
Brujo. Tio Brujo.
Yep, perfect. You got them both.
Winner.
No double prizes though. Sorry. Dave, let me grab a couple. What is the name of the blue demon?
Right
this
there.
one jumped up first. Yes. Perfect. Very nice.
We did say it.
I mentioned that actually like 3 times.
Yeah,
too,
we did say it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Why? It wants to be with you guys.
It's so hard putting it back there.
Why did the Deadites get released in the first place?
That guy right, the black shirt right there.
Ash got super big, so it's kind of
All right, we'll just set it down.
Points for delivery on that one.
And you guys asked me a t-shirt worthy question?
Oh, you want a double or nothing?
Double down.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. What was the name of the director who did the remake?
Vinay Alvarez.
All right, he deserves the shirt. He actually has a flick called Don't Breathe coming out that looks bad to the ass, so check that out, guys.
This is like a throwback to that movie. The remake was when I forgot the Australian girl was with Kelly, and she looks over and she's like, "Oh, it's looking at us." The eye that was viewing them was the same contact lens that the Deadites get in the remake.
Cool.
Very, very cool.
Very nice.
A little bit of info from the audience. Got it all right. Let's see. Who else has one? Because I exhausted the ones I wrote down. Andrew?
I'm working on it. Hold on.
Okay.
Working on it?
In the alternate ending to Army of Darkness, what happens to Ash?
Oh.
And they're in the center with the hat. Or it's not a hat, but sorry. Pirate's hat.
Stuck in the cave and then wakes up and it goes too far.
I slept too long.
That's it.
Good. All right. Okay. Well, if we're doing Evil Dead trivia too, let's.
I'd say it's all fair game, man.
What was Ash's girlfriend's name in Evil Dead 2?
Back
Ash is at the very back. Linda is correct.
Linda's
yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Linda.
Hey, Linda, you're a bitch.
All right. We have another.
Okay, here I got an easy one.
Okay.
What's the book that's placed on top? Oh, you did. Farewell to Arms.
Nice.
Yeah. Coolio.
I thought you were
have to finish
going
the
to
question.
ask what the evil
like, no,
book
I'm
was. I was like, really? All right, let's do that. What's the name of the evil book, guys?
Oh, this
All
guy.
right.
Necronomicon.
There you go. Yeah, so take the one that wants you. All right, that's
I'll
fine.
take one.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
That was the Destined Chainsaw.
Yes. You know what? That is a chainsaw-worthy correction. Chainsaw-worthy correction. All right. Well, do you have something for us then?
Yeah, try to stump up.
Jason.
Who does the music for the show and the Evil Dead 2?
Give that boy a chainsaw.
Joseph.
Yes.
Joseph.
Okay.
The Necronomicon prop from Army of Darkness appears exactly as it was in another horror film franchise. What movie is it?
I knew this at one point. Get that boy a chainsaw.
I know that one.
We should have done this from the
movie
beginning
called
for you guys.
Necronomicon.
Jeez. Okay, yes. Pink hair.
What is the name of the movie that's a prototype that Sam Raimi directed to get investors for Evil Dead?
The one that's on YouTube, the 30-minute short one?
I don't know if it's on YouTube. But that's how they secured investors.
I watched it just recently. It was called Fun with Ash and Demons. No? All right.
Good
She gets
try. Get her a chainsaw.
Do you have a straight
Guys, we should point out that we're Ash versus Evil Dead fans rather than experts.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yes, in the back there. Question.
True or false for you?
Oh, yay! We
All
can do
right.
that one.
I like my ads.
True or false? While they were shooting the motorcycle scene that was coming at Bruce Campbell, it actually injured him, and it still bothers him today. True or false?
Sounds true to me.
Sounds true.
Yep.
All right. I like that question. Thank you. You should have said if this did not happen, and we would have screwed it up, and nobody got a chainsaw. Get her a chainsaw. Yes, please.
During the filming of the original Evil Dead,
I like everyone's got behind the scenes questions.
Yeah. Listen to commentary.
Sorry, start again.
What was Ash doing to make a living while he filmed the original movie?
What was Bruce doing?
What was Bruce doing? Yeah.
Wasn't he working at a hardware store?
Nope.
Nope.
Someone else knows. So we
I thought he was in Playboy.
No.
Playboy.
Well, I played girl.
That's a good guess.
No, I meant Playboy.
Oh, Playboy.
Was he a dishwasher? I don't know.
Dishwasher? Yeah, I don't know. What was it?
Security guard.
Security guard. Oh, okay. All right. He earns a chainsaw. All right. One left. We got one chainsaw left. Anyone have one? Oh wait, we need.
we also have
we need to ask one other question. Okay. Does anyone for the T-shirt? Does anyone know the name of the actress that played Amanda in the show?
Michael Bay.
Look at none of you guys liked her either. Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's Dana De Lorenzo.
Okay, wait, I have a good one. What was the other show on Stars that Lucy Lawless was a big part
Oh wait,
of?
sorry, Jill Marie Jones.
Oh. I gotta go with someone that put their hand up, and it was someone in the back. Red shirt. No.
Very
Right
close,
behind
though.
you in the beard. We're right up next. Yep. Beard in the back. Nope, behind you. Yep. Spartacus what? Yes, okay. That is a T-shirt. You want to come on up? We'll get you the T-shirt.
That was a T-shirt question.
And then, does anyone have one other question for us for the last chainsaw? And then we have one question for the print.
What was it?
Start thinking of a question for the print, guys.
We have the bag.
You, sir, in the back.
What was the title of the featurette that they made about the making of Evil Dead 2?
You've won a prize.
She's in tune to what's going on here.
Damn it, Susie, give me a moment to think.
I see that look way too many.
We actually know all the answers. We just want you to have the chainsaw.
Right. Exactly.
Way to
exactly.
save face, Marcia.
So, who's got one last good question for the print that we can give away? Oh, the bag. We have the bag too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, let's do. Someone has a question for us to try and earn the bag. Yes.
Well, not to earn the bag, but I just have a general question.
Okay.
Would you guys, like, after seeing, like, Evil Dead on Antu and Ash vs. Evil Dead, would you guys consider practicing them at Necronomicon, or you guys, like, just don't want to touch it at all?
I would certainly look at it. I wouldn't try and read it to get laid.
No.
We've seen the movies. We're not going to go anywhere near that book. Yeah.
I might be in the
Speak for
room, but
yourself.
I would have said
I want
burn
Elagos as
it
my
before
friend.
we even open the book, before they even read the book.
If you want to get interested in Necronomicon, the best author looked up is Donald Tyson.
Oh, cool. All right.
all right.
Do some research, guys.
So,
Anyone have one other trivia
Satanist
question for us to
consult.
earn the bag? You have a chainsaw
wants the
ready.
bag?
But not a bag. All right. Well, let's see. We do have some other. Okay.
Whisper
Yes.
the question to her.
Someone whose hand is being forced into the air.
Don't be shy.
Oh, I played them.
Well, I know there's one called Hail to the King, and then there's
Yeah. Hail to the
there's one
King
called
was
Hail to the
one.
King. That's the one I played. I know there was a second one though.
Hey, we got half of it. Rip it in half.
We'll just
Go
cut
ahead,
the
take
baby
the
in
bag
half.
for
and then you can
participating.
each have half.
Now you can carry mini prints around the con if you want. Okay, so Dave, are you looking up info to ask one final question for the?
I was going to ask one final question because this is something that you would have had to have looked up online.
Okay. Yep, it is
What was
for
it?
the print. Again,
For the print?
It's by Cole Peterson, ColePetersonArt.com, you guys, and he's got a table down below. And these prints are 2 for $10. So if you don't win it, just go snag one for yourself.
All right. So every episode has a title, and what we're looking for is the title for the 10th episode.
Ooh.
That's it.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow, good job. You got all the knowledge.
True fan.
Close enough.
True
Close
fan.
enough. It was the dark
All right.
one, but we'll give it to you.
And his was the only hand that went up right away, guys. So granted, he won something else, but he earned that one. So
Quick on the buzzer.
I think that's going to cover it.
Actually,
for-
does anybody else have any other comments that you guys would like to discuss or talk about?
Oh yeah, we still have a couple minutes left.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell to the
absolutely.
king.
Of course. Yes. We'll start down here.
There's actually a pretty cool piece of trivia for Evil Dead 2. You know the scene when the monster ends up going in the air and they, at the end of the movie?
Oh yeah.
There was actually an instance in the movie where a whole bunch of water starts pouring down from it. that wasn't planned. What happened was they were in there for so long, all the sweat had built up, and the leg actually ripped. So all that water that ends up going everywhere is actually the acid.
Oh, I can relate to that. Ugh.
Hey guys, if you're leaving, don't forget to grab one of our flyers on the way out so you can check out the show. Check out our episodes. Check out our horror short that we just put up, Vampire Western. We rip parts out, cut off heads.
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, please.
I had something come to my mind.
Sure.
It was how they always had new outfits to put on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleveland's too. Right?
They were traveling through the state and they somehow brought all their luggage.
Every TV show has like an off-screen maid, apparently, because it's crazy. You're absolutely right. Any other points? Yes.
Were you guys at all put off by the really small but obvious amounts of CGI that were sort of working?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. The ones that were really in your face when they blew a head up, like right in front of you, it was just like, oh, yeah. When you're so used to the pedigree of Sam's practical effects, it's a little bit rough. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
But we did like how they just enhanced practical effects.
Yeah, rather than going
CG.
full CG. Yeah. Please.
Nice comment.
It's really about the rights. It just seems like you never keep rights to anything. You lost them to Evil Dead 2 at some point in Army of Darkness. So you gained them and then you lost them. What exactly happened?
It's all has to do with the deals that he signed way back then. Yeah. And I mean, way back then, he wasn't Sam Raimi yet.
Yeah,
you know,
when
he
a
was the
studio
guy that
buys
did
a
those
feature,
funny horror movies. You know,
when a studio buys a feature, they want all the rights. So they want the rights to make sequels, they want the rights to everything. And so as a writer-director, he had to sell those things to get Army of Darkness made. And he didn't have to do that with, or he bought it back for Evil Dead or something.
Either that
like
or the
that.
option expired or something
Yeah,
like
or the
that.
option
Because it's been like
expired.
20 years.
Yeah.
So,
Which is why like they made that terrible Fantastic Four movie back in the 90s. That's why they, that's why they make movies that are terrible sometimes because they don't want to lose. They've bought the rights to that property. They don't want to lose it, so they make something like, like that's why they were doing the X-Men the way they were doing them. So
I
one of
actually
three.
have an audience question.
What character do you think Ted's going to play in that?
Didn't you say?
He's supposed to be his best friend from high school.
Best friend from high school. They didn't really put in any context if he's on a side or has a grudge or anything like that. But based on how everybody that deals with Ash ends up, I can't imagine it ended well. So I'm intrigued about that too. And then like these guys mentioned, the father aspect too. They're the new guys, so it'll be interesting to see how they play in.
Be on there.
Yeah, but we forgot about Amanda, we forgot about Ruby, so I just hope they don't get lost in the shuffle. They're new guys, they kind of have to be front and center, but also blended in too.
One of the last things I wanted to say, guys, is if you want, we have a couple things up here. As I said earlier, we work with a channel called Kings of Horror. They basically buy independent, really low budget horror movies that are perfect for Mystery Science Theater 3000. So if you go to youtube.com/Kings of Horror, you can check them out. But that's where we do our weekly news segment. We do horror news every Friday. Full, 12, 15-minute segment. We talk about the stories of the week and we present it just like a regular news show. So check that out. But we actually have some stickers up here. Anyone can come on up afterwards and come pick it up. It basically is a unicorn head that says "Get Horrorny" on it. So
clever.
They're kind of fun. You toss them in people's bags as you walk through the con and just wait for their faces and stuff like that. And then also, if you guys saw in the background here, we have our own. If you guys have seen that Religious Coexist bumper sticker, we sort of did our own horror version of it, and we have about 11 or 12 of them up here. Or no, I'm sorry, we have 7. But they're up here. You guys can take them, and other than that,
we usually sell them for $5.
I have one more thing that so Evil Dead remake, obviously drastically different tone, pretty humorless. However, there's been lots of rumors about crossing over that girl character with Ash, especially since we saw him in the post credits. Would anybody be down for that idea? Do you think the characters could mesh well, or anybody?
I think it's cool. I never actually saw it as a remake because it's not the same characters. I saw it as just sort of like
reimagination.
So just sort of like a little side story. I mean, you can fake it and pretend it's the same character from the other if you want to.
Right, no, it's true.
That's fine.
They should have tied it together. If only they had the foresight to make the end credits scene the scene where Bruce is partying with the girls and he reads the book, and then cut right after that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Into the story, the series. But But anyway, I think that's going to do it for Appreciating Ash vs. Evil Dead. Thanks for joining us. I've been Cecil.
I'm Andrew Mercer. I've been Jaime Fuego.
Producer Dave.
Marcia Parker.
And until you guys check out our channel online, remember,
stay scared.